I'm good at this. That's why the Israelites said you ain't talk to Cap. So now when you look up concept of culture,
I'm the best at this.
You're not.
The only reason that they think that you're doing anything is because they're 2 standard deviations below the mean in IQ, which is typical of religious people.
The fact that you think Black people have a culture, then by the definition, shared beliefs, values, practices, material items define a group, learn through socialization, express symbols, language, norms, rituals. Now you show me where Black people collectively have those things that define a culture, and then I'll show you where the Israelites, which is not a made-up religion, is not even a religion. In a religion, anybody can be that religion. For Israelites, you have to be an Israelite to be an Israelite. So you can't call us a religion. So a white person can't be an Israelite, but a white person, African, Chinese, and Arab can all be Christian or Muslim or anything else. But you cannot be that. Why? Because our culture prohibits that. That's the difference between us and whatever it is. You said you follow Sasson.
You're not speaking of a culture. One moment. You're confusing terms. The problem is that you're doing a very poor job with diction, and as a result, you're mixing in the concept of ethnicity, culture, and race. You're suggesting that race is a biological reality. You see, and another group cannot take on a biological reality, but you're meshing that up with ethnicity and religion. That's the problem here. So you need to pull those things apart. So first off, let me show you how messy what you're talking about is. Would you be so kind as to define the racial features that clarify who is a Hebrew? I'm going to see if I can get a pen. So I got a pen here.
You don't even need a pen because you sound more European the more you talk. You see how you just said...
No, don't run. I'm going to get a pen. Don't run.
Wait,
go ahead.
Say that. I said you don't need a pen. I said you sound...
No, I'm going to take this and write this down. What are the racial features that define the Hebrew Israelite?
Write this down. Marquette is extremely European and Eurocentric.
Don't run. What are the features that define a Hebrew Israelite? You don't know who you are? I thought you know who you are.
But why are you interrupting? Who's running from the question? I want you to
answer it.
I just want you to write these things down. Marquette is Eurocentric in his thought process because according to the Bible, it does not say if you have a big nose, a big head, hair, that makes you an Israelite. It doesn't say that. In the Bible, it says if you are the seed of the Israelites, you're an Israelite. Only Eurocentric Europeans and those that follow him think that you're who you are by the size of your head, the size of your feet, your skin tone, your complexion. Those are all Eurocentric ideas. Those are not Israelite ideas. That's not, can you show so I've answered your question. Now
no, you've not answered the question. So if you don't mind, I'd like to make sure that we can pin it down. No, one second. I'd like to make sure we can pin it down. So I asked you, because you've defined it as a racial group. So what I'm asking you is to define the things that are observable in that racial group, because you've stated that you are unlike other groups. So being that you're unlike other groups, tell me how I might recognize you. And I'll give you an example since you seem to be misunderstanding. If I were to say that someone is Samoan, I might be able to give you some metrics that define them as such. If I say that someone belongs to the Negroid, Caucasoid, Mongoloid category, I can give you some specifics. So I'm asking you, you're a Hebrew Israelite. What are the racial features of the Hebrew so that we can identify some similarities which constitute a group belonging? I'll yield the floor. I'm going to write down what are the similarities that consist of your group.
My favorite phrases is listening is an art. You use the word race. I use more so the word ethnicity. So ethnically speaking, you are the seed of your father. So example, we would see the world would see Bob Marley as a black man. We would see Bob Marley as a white man because of who his father is. So now when we have talking points, when we have general talking points, what you're saying, we'll say, well, black people look like this generally. Black people have kinky hair generally, but Africans also have kinky hair and we're not African either. So we don't go by Darwinism. We don't go by Eurocentric thoughts and ideologies and their beliefs. We go by the seed of your father. And so you identify Israelites by the laws they keep. You might see them with fringes. You might see women dressed a certain way. You might see the feast days we keep.
So now you're talking about behaviors. So you keep running. You'll define something, and then I'll assert that that's the wrong definition, and then you'll run on to something else.
So, for example, Marquette, is your father a so-called?
No, we don't have to run to that. What are the racial features of the Hebrew Israelites so that I can write it down?
Can't read where that's an identifier for Israelites in the Bible. So we don't go by racial features. That's why I use Bob Marley as an example. Bob Marley has a black mother.
Okay, so I want to make sure real quick. I just want to make sure we're understanding. So you're saying you do not go by racial features, which is to say biological markers. Is that correct?
No, you're saying biological markers.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
Racial, I'm going to explain. What I'm saying about racial features, when people see Bob Marley, they call him black. Whenever we say Bob Marley is a white man, they say you're full of crap. Because when I look at Bob Marley, what does he have? Black features or black skin tone. But
I heard that the first time. You don't have to repeat it. I'm asking you, what are the racial features of the Hebrew Israelites? If you're saying there are none, just say that and I'll write it down. But it seems as though you're tap dancing. Are there racial features or are there no racial features of the Hebrew Israelites? And when we say race, we're talking about that which is biological. I yield the floor. Which is it?
Before I answer again, can you give me—
Just answer. You don't have to preface it.
No, I do want to preface it. When you say racial features, can you tell me what you're saying the racial features are?
Don't answer a question with a question. The problem is that you are in a lack of knowledge, and now having been exposed, you're now questioning me. You see, instead of saying, I don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know. I asked you what you are, what your group is, and you don't know. Just say you don't know.
So here's why I answer the way I answer. And
No, you didn't answer. You asked a question. You didn't answer. You asked a question. That makes it a response, not an answer. Again, I'm a master of language. So please be accurate.
Though, because I asked you a question the third time, you didn't understand the answer. So I have to dumb it down for you. That's the difference.
What are the chances that you have to dumb something down? Now, what are the racial features of the Hebrew Israelites? It's fundamental.
There is no set racial features for Israelites. There is no identifier where if they got this nose, they're an Israelite. They got this complexion, they're an Israelite. If they got this color eyes, they're an Israelite. That's Eurocentric teaching that you're doing.
That's all. How's that Eurocentric?
Because Eurocentric would say if their brain is